every prison ever thing! It's Ice God here. So, after the last video, I decided to make some important changes to the existing code before adding some new features. Like fixing the code because it was slightly broken. I meant broken. The first thing I wanted to do was make the world continuous, you know, like in the real world. Basically, if you go in one direction long enough, eventually go back to where you started. So it's basically, you know, looping. I made it so that those dumbass slimes don't hump the walls again like the depressed, horny teenagers, and they want to be freed from their freaking AI prison where every second they're forced to bow on this gladiatorial ring and then have sex. Speaking of reproduction, I fixed it so that badass slimes and players get rewarded more than, you know, if they're just pussies. I also removed the free healthcare that players and slimes get when they reproduce, but I didn't take away their score either. Basically, every single time players decide to be reproduced in the last episode, they got a free heal. Now I removed that. However, also whenever they reproduced, I made it so that they also had their scores removed, just so then luck would be out of the way. But I was like, you know, it's kind of unfair that they get their score removed, right? If they're fucking awesome and they keep being awesome, then they should have even more respect. So then I let them keep their score. I also increased the health of the slimes and players and added a system so that if a player kills a slime that actually had a score, then the player would inherit that slime's score. I also added the revolutionary feature called knockback. Is that how I say it? Anyways, this shit is revolutionary, and I think I deserve an MIT scholarship just for making it. I actually spent 1 minute trying to spell scholarship. Now that the slimes and players don't die in 3 frames, I let the players and slimes see each other's health, because, you know, that actually matters now. I also let the players accelerate and decelerate, you know, like real people who don't fucking go at infinite force, going from 0 to actual acceleration in no time at all. We're just gonna skip over how that's infinite acceleration and the consequences of that. So there aren't actually that many differences between the players and slimes. I found out when programming this, which is making me really regret some of the decisions I made last episode, which makes the code look like a fucking 12-year-old sleep on copy and paste. I've also been watching these species for quite some time, and I've actually seen a couple of really cool common themes. It seems like the really epic, overly aggressive, charged swords of swinging strategies that would probably get you a high score isn't actually featured as much because it gives you less chance of survival. Because in the long term, you know, most of those people will probably die, so they won't be able to reproduce, and they won't be able to pass on their genes. So basically a neutral strategy is what most of the slimes and players have picked up. The neutral strategy for slimes is just to hop in one direction and just kind of hope you get it, hope you hit somebody. And a neutral strategy is for people is to stay between like 2 different slimes and just keep stabbing, only like defensively, not really to like run at people. Also, the slimes and players are getting really good now. Like, really, really good. Back in the first episode, the slimes and players would go over 500 generations. No signs of ever killing each other. And now the slimes and players can KO the entire species in 100 generations or less. Once it actually did it in like 11. Anyways, I had an important decision to make now. Terraria has 4 main difficulties: Journey, Normal, Expert, and Master. So I have to decide what difficulty Terra Prime would be in. Yes. So I programmed all difficulties of Terraria in Terra Prime. I realized that having one species of slime was going to be really boring. So obviously I needed to add all species in Terraria into Terra Prime. And since Terra Prime was a simulation of evolution, so yeah. I'm planning on making all species in Terraria evolve from green slimes, which we are assuming are the simplest creatures. The green slimes will be the single-celled organisms of this world. But wait. The different enemies have different AIs, which means they'll have different inputs and outputs. Also, if slimes evolve weaker than enemies, then they'll be at a disadvantage, which means all the characters will want to evolve into fucking moonlords. Also, the slimes go extinct because even in master mode, they're super fucking weak. Well, shit.